Top of the morning to you. Today we shall be saying the worst offseason moves for each NBA team. Boston Celtics, Kristaps Porzingis trade. Now, I kind of forget who they got the trade for, but I just know you got like a great player for practically nobody's. Brooklyn Nets, Michael Porter Jr. trade. You got rid of Cam Johnson for Michael Porter Jr. The only reason to watch the Nets is to figure out who gets the damn ball. They're just gonna fight over it all the time. New York Knicks, nothing. All of their moves were good, besides like letting one person go or something in free agency, which would be a bench warmer. Philadelphia 76ers, that guy trade. He got traded for like a second round pick. No clue who he is, but trading guy for a second round pick. Nothing for the Toronto Raptors. All of their moves they didn't really do any moves. They just practically re-signed people. Chicago Bulls, Lonzo Ball trade. I'm pretty sure everyone agrees that's a very sucky trade for Isaac Okoro. Cleveland Cavaliers, the Ty Jerome leaving in free agency. You could have kept him. I'm sure they didn't want to go over salary cap though. Detroit Pistons, Tim Hardaway Jr. He left in free agency, I think. Indiana Pacers, Miles Turner leaving. You said you would go into free agent. You said you would go into the salary cap, or not salary cap. You said you would go into the first apron to keep Miles Turner. Liar. Charlotte Hornets, Mark Williams trade. You traded him for a bunch of second round picks. That's terrible. He's a decent center. He's a young center. Young should be the key word. Dallas Mavericks, Spencer Dinwiddie trade. They didn't really have that many moves. Bad moves this offseason, so that's it. Denver Nuggets, nothing. They had a bunch of great trades, great signings, so nothing. Golden State Warriors, waiving Seth Curry. If you did not know, they waived Seth Curry until November, I think. So then there's this whole salary cap thing. Houston Rockets, Cam Whitmore trade. They traded this guy for like nothing. Nothing at all. Nothing. Los Angeles Clippers, Norman Powell trade. You traded him to Miami, even though in that trade you got John Collins from the Jazz. Why would you trade him to Miami? Just trade him to... I'm just confused. In either way, John Collins is worse than Norman Powell. Los Angeles Lakers. They waived 3 randos, but I mean, waiving players isn't very nice. These players have feelings too. Memphis Grizzlies. Waiving Cole Anthony. He's a pretty good young player. Why would you waive him? He's one of my favorite players in the league right now. Miami Heat. Nothing. They didn't really do any bad trades. They had one great trade, though. You know what the great trade was. It was getting Norman Powell for nothing. Milwaukee Bucks, Damian Lillard waived. Just trade Giannis at this point. You could get Luka for Giannis, even though that would be a bad trade. You could still get it. You could get a few picks. Minnesota Timberwolves, nothing. All the moves were good, which they didn't have that many. Jordan Poole trade. CJ McCollum might be old, but he is still a good player. Oklahoma City Thunder, nothing. They practically didn't do any moves besides re-signings. Orlando Magic, Desmond Bane trade. The Desmond Bane trade was pretty bad. 4 first-round picks, 5 first-round picks. I don't know. That's a lot of picks. Kevin Durant trade. I feel like the Luka trade was better than this. Kevin Durant does not deserve to be traded for Jalen Green and Dylan Brooks in like a first-round pick. He might be old, but he's still a best, arguably top 10 player. Portland Trailblazers, DeAndre Ayton buyout. Why would you buy out one of your best players? You guys barely have a center anymore. Yeah, I don't think you guys have a good center. Sacramento Kings, Jonas Valanciunas trade. You traded him for Dario. I am not going to try and pronounce that last name. What? You trade him for Dario, some guy who was only good 10 years ago, for a guy that's good now. Did I skip something? No, I didn't. San Antonio Spurs. Chris Paul leaves. You could have just re-signed him. Utah Jazz. John Collins trade. Yeah, I already talked about this. You got nothing in return for John Collins. Marcus Smart. Washington Wizards. Marcus Smart waived. Why would you waive him? He's like your third best player. Why would you waive him? That's not saying much when you're on the Washington Wizards, but still. Atlanta Hawks. Clint Capella leaves. Could have just re-signed him. I know your fans definitely don't want you to re-sign him, but skill is skill.